Hey folks, I'm best-selling author of The Power Zero, David McKnight. In today's video, you'll see part 2 of my interview with radio show host Josh Jalinski, in which we discuss my upcoming book, Guru, How America's Financial Gurus Are Leading You Astray and How to Get Back on Track, and whether or not I set out to write a financial guru hit piece when I decided to write this book.
So let's talk about this book more. The new book, I'm really excited about it. Guru, How America's Financial Gurus Are Leading You Astray and How to Get Back on Track. What do you get? You know, we're in this YouTube social media culture. I'm going to start with like the negative. What do you get people say? This is a hit piece. You're clout chasing. You're just trying to make yourself look bigger by picking on somebody like Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman. And by the way, I respect all of these gurus in one way or another. I think Ramsey getting out of debt and getting out of credit card debt, that is his biggest contribution. Debt snowball, although he got that from other people, the popularization of that, living on a budget, I'm all for that. But what do you about people say this book's just a hit piece?
Yeah, you know, and I get that a lot on my YouTube channel because about every 4th or 5th video that I put out there is about a guru and the bad advice that they're dispensing. But I have lots of you know, caveats where I say, look, you know, I'm fully acknowledging that these people are famous because they've done good for a lot of people. And like I said, if you're making 50 and spending 60, these are precisely the people that you should be following with precision. However, if you are a sophisticated, disciplined investor, their advice many times will lead you astray. For example, Dave Ramsey, and part of the problem is they're addressing such a large audience that they have to dispense one size fits all, black and white advice that's devoid of nuance to be able to feel like they're not excluding anyone. So they have to sort of position it in such broad, generalized terms that everybody feels like, hey, Dave's speaking to me, right? And so the advice that they dispense tends to be, monolithic and one size fits all. The problem with that is if you take one size fits all advice and apply it to your situation that calls for nuance and a tailored financial plan, then you're actually, mathematically speaking, you're going to run out of money prior to when you otherwise would have run out of money because of that. For example, Dave Ramsey says life insurance is 100% crap 100% of the time, permanent life insurance. There's never any scenario in which permanent life insurance could help you out. So in the book, I go over 3 scenarios where mathematically speaking, permanent life insurance will extend the life of your investments much, much further than not using life insurance at all. Same goes for annuities. And so the problem is, and Susie Orman, for example, says, if anybody ever brings up permanent life insurance, you're to turn around, run away, never talk to that person again. Dave Ramsey says the only person that ever touches permanent life insurance is either a dupe or they just haven't researched it enough. So, these are the types of one-size-fits-all financial planning strategies and advice that I'm trying to combat. So, yeah, I recognize that there's a lot of fans of Dave Ramsey out there that may not like this book, but I would just encourage them to read the book and see what you make of it, because I think you'll be surprised by what you read.
But I would say, it's interesting. Everything you're saying is great. Get the book. Is it on Amazon? Where do you prefer people buy the book?
It's not even for sale yet. I just gave it to my agent yesterday. So.
Oh, great. Well, we're looking forward to it.
But I was so timely because of what happened yesterday that I thought it would be good.
Yeah, I'm excited. When you launch the book, get it on pre-orders. We're also going to get your take on Curtis Ray is kind of a guy who swept the nation on TikTok. Actually, he's reached out to me because I guess he's looking for representatives. Seems like a nice enough guy, but he has this MPI thing. I want to get your take on that. And then, folks, if you want one of David McKnight's books, we will give you one at no charge. Call us at 888-988-JOSH. The top 5 books in the David McKnight catalog, Power of Zero. Look Before You Lerp. The Volatility Shield, which is Howard Bernheim, my CFP, CPA on my staff's favorite book of yours. Tax-Free Income for Life. And if you like nonfiction, The Infinity Code, which is a nonfiction kind of Da Vinci Code type thriller. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. But we're going to, a lot on your YouTube channel, a lot of good videos. You just dropped the one on Curtis Ray 4 hours ago. And here's the thing. Here's how I would answer the hit piece thing. For years, insurance-friendly financial advisors, right? People who think it may have a place. If you're a financial advisor who ever would recommend permanent life insurance or an annuity, you are instantly demonized by these prophets of financial misinformation. They paint with broad brushstrokes in a way that I would say is not just good for 50K income people. I say it's also damaging to them because I saw what happened to my parents. They were devastated when my dad was disabled at 40. And it was because now, okay, did the guy who sell him Universal Life in the 80s maybe have his best interest at heart? Maybe not. Did he have the best policy? Maybe not. But you know what one of his dying regrets was? Cashing out his whole life policy in the 80s. He had a couple $100,000, and he would have loved the pride of giving $250,000 to his 4 kids, split 4 ways, tax-free. But because he followed, and before Dave Ramsey, there was a guy, Larry Burkett. It was similar type advice, and kind of the precursor to that. And his financial life never recovered from early disabilities. So I would say this is financial misinformation that applies to everyone. Now, I've watched the Ramsey 12-step videos. 11 of 12 of them I think are really good. And they're only parts of the insurance investment ones that I disagree with, such the demonization of life insurance at all time. But I don't think this hippies. I think of it as like your growing backbone for the financial industry to say, you know what? Or as Tom Hagnes says, these other people that demonize these things are fake fiduciaries. They claim to be fiduciaries. By the way, Dave Ramsey is not a fiduciary. He's not a financial advisor. They tell you that very plainly on all of their Smart Vestor Pro things. He's actually more of a lead generation company and a financial education company. And I would say 90% of the education is good. It's just, but to me, it's that people adopt like an all or nothing approach and not a nuanced approach. And I don't care who you meet with, nothing is good like I've had people who come to me, they think of a dear listener friend that I got as a client because the mother had an 85-year-old mother who had a universal life policy. The universal life policy was set to blow up. Did I go, cancel it? It stinks. It's a bad product. No, we found a way to salvage it, and the heirs got $250,000. And I got a client for life, undying gratitude, because we didn't have a all or nothing approach. We had a nuanced approach. So I think this benefits people because I've had so many listeners over the years who the nuanced approach is how you deal with these things. Because like you said, if you cash something out, you're going to have surrender charges and, maybe it wouldn't have been best in the first place, but it could be long-term. So folks, 888-988-JOSH. If you want the book by David McKnight, what's your latest book that you recommend everybody to read?
I think Power Zero is just a great foundational place to start. It sets the table for all the other books. So start there. Maybe follow up with Look Before You Learn and then Tax-Free Income for Life. Great.
So folks, any of those David McKnight books, if you want one, call us at 888-988-JOSH. I'll give you one when you schedule and keep your no obligation review, 888-988-5674. We'll be back after these messages. And we're back with David McKnight, author of the Power of Zero series, which I love that whole concept. So I do want us to go back to that concept for people who are not familiar with your work. But more in the book, why are you focusing on financial gurus? Does anybody ever even listen to Clark Howard anymore? No.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times what happens is I might make, and this may happen to you, I might make a recommendation to a client or a prospect, and they immediately go home. They research my recommendation on the internet, and who should come up but Susie Orman or Dave Ramsey? And they have such black and white statements that if a client isn't willing to apply some nuance critical thinking to what I'm recommending, it's going to sound like everything that I'm saying is running afoul of the mainstream financial planning community. You got to remember, at the end of the day, Dave Ramsey has set himself against the entire mainstream financial planning community. How do I know that? Because he's constantly slamming the mainstream financial planning. He calls them lemmings. He calls them nerds that are sitting in their parents' basement, punching on a calculator, coming up with stupid 4% rules that don't really work in the real world. He is literally trying to heal our clients and prospects away from us and absorb them into his tribe, absorb them into his community. And, if he's a better marketer and actually provides better advice, I can't begrudge him that. The problem is he's not providing better advice. In fact, in the most recent iteration that we saw yesterday, this really lit up the financial planning community. It was all over. It literally went viral. He's giving advice that will lead his listeners to a very, very bad place. They'll either run out of money 20 years faster than they thought, or they will only save half as much as they think is necessary to have them, give them enough money to last through life expectancy. So I'm just trying to say, look, these financial gurus are good to a point. But if you really want to wring the most efficiency out of your retirement dollars, particularly if you're a sophisticated, disciplined investor, then these are not the people that you should be following.
And why are they going to run out of money? Break that down, because you made an assertion, and you and I kind of get it, but I don't think it's not that bad. Like, why is that so bad?
Okay, so let's say you got $1 million and you retired at age 65. The Monte Carlo scenarios that were first done by Bill Bengen, like you said, back in 1994, it's all about how much can you take out of that corpus of money, and what is the likelihood that you'll be able to continue to take that money out until you die, right? And most people, their greatest fear in retirement is running out of money before they run out of life. And so that's when they came up with a 4% rule. The 4% rule says that you can take 4% of your day one retirement balance per year, adjusted every year thereafter for inflation. So for example, the first year, you could take out 40,000 if you get that $1 million balance. Second year, you can take out a little bit more than 40,000. Maybe, what is that, 41,200 if it's a 3% inflation, and keep going up every year thereafter. That gives you like an 86% chance that you will not run out of money before you run out of life. Dave Ramsey says, throw that out the window. That's just some nerd in his mom's basement punching a calculator. It's not real world advice. What I say is you should be able to take out 8%. Now, the only problem with that is when you run the Monte Carlo scenarios, 8% says, and then if you have your money in 100% stocks, like Ramsey says you should, you will run out of money 89% of the time. That means that you will get to a point in your life where you have to subsist and eke out an existence on Social Security alone. Okay, so that's a problem. Okay, so that's one side of it. The other side of it is, let's say that you can live on 8%. You can take 8%. That means you only have to save half as much along the way. And that's what Dave Ramsey's saying. He's saying the 4% rule makes you believe that you have to save twice as much as you really need to have enough money to meet your retirement needs down the road. And so on the one hand, you could be running out of money early, or on the other hand, you're just not saving enough. And that's just based on Dave Ramsey's. I mean, he'll say stuff like, if you were to save $500 per month for the next 15 years, you'll have $500,000, assuming the 12% growth. And starting day one, that $500,000 corpus of money, I've heard this one time, he said, it will lay 50,000 golden eggs every single year for the rest of your life. And the caller says, really? And he goes, really? It's mathematically true. So that's why I'm trying to take a stand on some of this stuff.
What other things we should know about your upcoming book on gurus that we haven't addressed?
Well, it's not just Dave Ramsey. It's all of the mainstream financial gurus. The ones that I talk about specifically are Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, Ramit Sethi, who did the "I Will Make You Rich: How to Get Rich" documentary on Netflix based on his best-selling book, I Will Make You Rich. You have Clark Howard, who of course has been, the Clark Howard Show, how to pack a punch in your wallet, and then the White Coat Investor. All of these. Oh, by the way, Ken Fisher as well. I got a big section of the book on Ken Fisher, who is I hate annuities and you should too, and I would rather go to hell before I ever sold you an annuity. So what I do is I basically observe that all of these advisors or all of these gurus have some things in common, namely that they preach one size fits all doctrines, and they almost universally hate permanent life insurance and annuities. And so I go through and I discuss exactly why that is. And usually it comes down to, it's really, really tough to say, okay, permanent life insurance fits in scenario A, B, and C, but it doesn't fit in scenario D, E, and F. It's just too complicated to, and what it does is it underscores the need for the listener to get an independent, financial advisor who can give a customized, tailorized plan. And that's not really what Susie Orman is really trying to do. She's trying to say, look, come to me, I can solve all your problems. If all of a sudden she's saying, go to a financial advisor, then all of a sudden she's less relevant. She's less germane to the conversation. And so I explore, number one, why they're saying the things that they do. And number two, I give counterpoints. I give evidence as to specifically why they're wrong in their claims and why there are, in fact, situations where the sophisticated, disciplined investor can utilize these tools that are almost universally condemned by these gurus and actually come out much further ahead and then mitigate a series of risks that could really derail their retirement plan and force them to run out of money years ahead of when they ever thought possible.
Let's talk about that. Why? Let's first talk about annuities. How can annuities be utilized in the best interest of a client? We had there's some new report even came out by regulators where they're talking about annuities being October 31 guidance from the Biden administration. Something against annuities came out.
Right. So, yeah. So remember, the name of the game is what strategy will give you the highest percentage of not running out of money before you run out of life, right? And so the most expensive way to mitigate what we call longevity risk, this idea that you run out of money before you run out of life, the most expensive way to do it is by the 4% rule. If you need $40,000 per year, adjusted every year to keep up with inflation, you better save $1 million, and this is above and beyond Social Security and whatever pensions you have. You got to save $1 million by day one of retirement, okay? You got to have $1 million accumulated. That will crank out those 40,000, golden eggs every year adjusted for inflation. Well, if really the name of the game is making sure you never run out of money, you could actually go get a single premium immediate annuity, what's called a SPIA. And at today's high interest rates, for only $500,000, you can get a guaranteed stream of income for $40,000 that is guaranteed to last as long as you do. And what does that do? Well, all of a sudden that frees up that remaining $500,000 that didn't get allocated to the annuity. You can now use that to get, maybe the LIRP, the Index Universal Life, where you can get a death benefit that doubles as long-term care, so that you're now shielding yourself from one of the single greatest risks you're likely to confront in retirement, which is long-term care. You can put the rest of the money into a discretionary account that you can grow in the market that can now meet your discretionary needs throughout the balance of your retirement. And if you can use your life insurance policy as a volatility shield, meaning you live out of your life insurance policy in the year following a down year in the market, so you can give your other assets a chance to recover, and all of a sudden you're increasing the likelihood that your assets will last through life expectancy. And so if the name of the game is making sure we don't run out of money before we run out of life, there's just more efficient ways to do it. And so when we utilize, for example, an annuity, we can just accomplish these things so much less expensively and free up a lot of other money to accomplish some things that can really increase the quality, increase the quality of life in our retirement.
Okay, folks, that was part 2 of my interview with radio show host Josh Jalinski. If you would like some help implementing a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement that shields you from the impact of higher taxes down the road, head on over to davidmcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power Zero network that has been trained, vetted, and qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power of Zero advisor, head over to powerzero.com and opt into my free video series. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.